All right, y'all, we are getting started. Give me just a second to get the word out and then we will get it fired up. Okay. And from now on, I will be adding my spoutable link to the bottom of the YouTube upload. And once we get a widget for it for Twitch, I will definitely put that on there, but I have the link on there. Welcome to the Bonnet Chronicles. I'm your host, Kalari GXC. Please do not mind my laid-back nature tonight, but honestly speaking, I need to do this and take it a bit easy. As you know, it is the month of February. Yesterday kicked off Black History Month. So tonight we are going to talk about the ups, the downs, the highs, the lows, and the in-betweens of this month and what it means to me personally and probably plenty of other people. Now, the problem I have with people deciding that they either want to celebrate it or don't, if you don't have a cultural connection to it, who cares what you think? If you do have a cultural connection to it and you don't want to, that's your choice. But to try to push people who really want to have roots in a place where we were pretty much taken from our ancestral roots, and remember all the people who not only caused strides in both science, writing, technology, all fields, sports, music, entertainment, movies, to try to downplay the work that these people have done, it don't make sense to me. And I really do feel that there are a lot of people out there still holding on to those tendrils of hate instead of appreciating the contributions that African Americans have done for our country and continue to do for our country. We have to let that shit go. But we are going to get started with a bit of a karma roundup because, you know, it can't be Black History Month without talking about stupid crap like this. So let me get this picture down. Oh, welcome, Grandman. Thank you for the lurk, dear. We have this South Carolina couple that burnt a cross on their black neighbor's lawn. They could also lose their home. It just kills me because this is the shit my grandparents had to deal with and their parents had to deal with. These people who think they can intimidate people based on our skin differences and do stupid shit like this. It's the year 2024. Why in the heck do people think it is okay to burn crosses? Officials in South Carolina, which I stayed in for a while when I was, after I had kiddo, I was in Bennettsville with my grandmother for a while, have requested that a judge force Woolden Butler and Alexis Harnett to move out of their home immediately. Of course, they committed a freaking hate crime. And of course, they both look like people that would burn crosses because how dare you black people live near us? Not exactly the warm welcome someone would expect from a neighbor. The harassment reached its peak when the white couple arrested in December 2023 after they were accused of erecting and setting fire to a cross outside the home of their black neighbors during the Thanksgiving weekend. And I know a lot of you know how serious we take Thanksgiving. It is a time of gathering. It is a time of reflection. Hey, Brett. Thank you. Oh, I haven't seen you in a while, dear. I know I quit Twitter, so it's been a while since I've seen you. I am doing much better. My levels are going up. I have a bunch of specialist follow-ups to go to next week as well. But I promise you all, I am doing better. I am taking it easy. I got to exercise yesterday. I got my hair dyed. Well, I dyed my hair. And I got my house clean. I had just about a normal day. And I'm slowly but steadily getting back to 100%. And it is really good to see you. Thank you, dear. Now, they know that our gatherings, a lot of times we have family there, we have friends there. With me and my family, it's just us. We keep it small, but I go all out because it's once a year and I don't have to do it more than that. So I can't imagine somebody that doesn't want me in their neighborhood coming to our place and burning a cross to intimidate us. And I can understand why back in the day that shit was scary. You didn't know what they were going to do next. And I'm telling you, castle law and being American citizens, No, you don't want to pull that shit in 2024 because we will fight back, point blank. And I guess Hulu is doing the MLK/X movie thing. I'm not too keen on watching that just yet because as much as I love Denzel Washington, like my grandma did, I'm always leery of the constant movies about them. Because those of us who know our history knows how it ended for both of them. And I just don't want to deal with tragedy right now. According to WMBE, Monica Williams said, "There's a cross burning about 8 feet from our fence. We were speechless because we never experienced something like that. And they're lucky because a lot of us in this country have experienced some form of bigotry, racism, and it's just not right. And in this Black History Month 2024, I just want more people to understand that this shit's got to stop. It's like we have a resurgence of stupidity and people who are just determined to be hateful instead of working together. And they're holding us back." Having a normal day, yes, it can, for real. Have a little bit of cough, but don't worry, y'all, it's just a cough. It's just a lot of times, just rest really does help. Getting the new dosage of the vitamin D, getting the calcium pills, and just resting when I needed to rest has really, really changed it up. And I'm just glad that I'm able to come back tonight and just kick off Black History Month with all of y'all, because I appreciate everybody who stops by and chats. As a result, Butler and Harnett was both charged with second-degree harassment. Not to mention, they are also being federally investigated for civil rights violations. And that's what I need to remind some of you people that think, well, I'll just intimidate this minority group, whether they're Black, brown, indigenous, LGBTQ+. There are federal laws now against hate crimes. There are federal laws against harassment of people who do not fit your ethnic background or cultural background. If you commit these crimes, you may go to prison for longer. The dum-dums that I talked about last Friday, the murderers of Ahmaud Arbery, are trying to get their hate crimes thrown out. But they're not gonna. They are caught in 4K murdering a man who's just jogging. So I need you to understand. You are free to be as hateful as you want, but you're not free from the consequences of your actions. And hey, Beans, I hope you're feeling better too, dear. Like, I might delay the whole YouTube thing. I was going to try to start next Saturday, but I need to see some things because some of them kids are coming out of pocket, and I don't think they know my old crazy ass well enough. Like, maybe I need to bring back Twitterton just for a little bit to show them who they're fucking messing with, but I don't know. I know I give them enough attention as it is in the comments, but that one tried to say, oh, you're trying to build your name. Bitch, I already have a name. I don't have a name on YouTube because I didn't take YouTube seriously. But YouTube is just for fun. The fucking nerve of them trying to say because I enjoy certain creators trying to build my name off of them. They'll grasp at any straws. But I'm telling you, when I do start my YouTube lives, you are definitely going to be a mod because I need somebody that has my back in that chat because I know them dum-dums are going to try me. They're going to get clapped back though because I ain't afraid of no fucking kid. I know I've got at least 20 to 30 years on some of them idiots. But last week things got worse for the racist duo. Special Prosecutor James Battle, who is in charge of handling public nuisance actions for the local solicitor's office, filed a petition that would have the couple removed from their homes sooner than they originally would. Jamie Richardson of the 15th Circuit Solicitor asked the judge to declare Butler and Harnett a public nuisance. He also asked the judge to approve of a temporary injunction that would immediately kick out all residents from the home and board it off until the case is officially heard in court. So not only are these dum-dums gonna lose their home, they are now known to the world as people who burnt crosses in 2024. Well, 2023 technically. They're having their trial in 2024. But this is the shit that we go through. I've told the story of when we lived in Staten Island. My mom got a place. She wanted to be a homeowner. So it was one of those rent-to-owns, which I learned the downside of that recently myself before we became actual homeowners. But it was exciting because it was a time of peace. She was always at work or doing her thing after work. So I basically had the house to myself. I did the shopping, I did the cooking, I was by myself, and it was lovely. And then one day, detectives knocked on the door and said, "Hey, do you know this neighbor up the road from you?" And I said, "Not really." Every once in a while I'd nod, but I would walk away because he had loose geese. And those crap birds were just always honking and flapping at you, so I tried to avoid them. And they were like, "Well, you didn't do anything to intimidate the man? Did you antagonize him?" And I was like, "I don't talk to people like that, sir. If I don't know them, I don't talk to them." We were informed that he was arrested along with several co-conspirators, all former NYPD, mind you, to firebomb our house. It wasn't my first brush with racism, but it was the most visceral. That memory will stick with me for the entire life because not only did I feel like they were blaming us, thinking I somehow antagonized this man that I didn't even want to talk to, because I didn't really talk to men at that point. I was 15, and y'all know what happened to me at 14, so no, I wasn't going out of my way to talk to strange men, no matter what they look like. And to have them accuse me again, because, like I said, it always comes back to what did you do? And I just felt helpless. Even my mom, who back then, we got along when we weren't seeing each other, she felt helpless. Because what do you do when somebody literally wants to destroy you for who you are? He didn't want us in his neighborhood. Well, he got his wish. We moved. But I hate that that is one of my first real visceral memories. And there are a lot of us with those memories, whether we are black, BIPOC, any kind of other in our country, whether you're mixed racial, because I know a lot of people feel targeted. And they're not just targeted by one side. And that's why I said hate is a poison, and we have got to stop allowing it to seep into our systems. Let me see which one that is. But in a better slate of news, which isn't really all that better, because I know some of you might have heard this on Spoutable, but there was an incident just a couple of days ago where vandals defaced and destroyed the Jackie Robinson number 42 statue. That statue had been there for decades. That statue represented somebody who broke the color barriers in baseball. He was a hero to a lot of people, and he faced a lot of harshness, but he played. He played with his heart. And that is why the statue was erected of him. And the statue was one of a kind because the person who built it passed a few years back too. So now they have to replace it, and a young team of people who practiced there worked together and raised $180,000 to replace that statue. I am so grateful to everybody who helped out, who gave, because it's important. We know that it's in retaliation for allegedly tearing down monuments to literal traitors to our country, in the South especially. Oh, you're taking our history, so we'll take yours. You don't realize that you're celebrating the history of people who really wanted to own my people, destroy our nation to keep the right to own my people, and we weren't playing that noise. We just wanted to be Americans and have our place in society without being spit on, without having dogs and hoses turned on us, without being othered. We broke barriers in so many places that did not want us in it, that eugenics told, oh, they can't keep up with us. And when we did, all we got was ire. From Jesse Owens to Muhammad Ali, it was a constant battle to show our worth. And to have our statues defaced when they weren't hurting anybody. Little black kids in the South especially had to go to school under literal Confederate statues, under Confederate flags, under reminders of a war that was fought to own our ancestors. And these people try to equate us celebrating our heroes to tit for tat. But you do realize that there are still many more of us who just want to do the right things, who just want to celebrate, lift up, and come together. Your hate will not stop our love at all. I was listening to Stevie Wonder earlier, that love's in need of love today, and I've never had more of a relevant song, because so many people, they rely on hatred. They rely on people not using critical thinking. They rely on that low-hanging fruit of, well, I don't want to think about other people's feelings. What the fuck is empathy? I'm a literal sociopath, and I have more empathy than some of these fuckers out there that want to be white nationalists, want to talk about their power structure, want to talk about holding other people down and how they're better all looking like fucking thumbs, fecal alcohol syndrome motherfuckers. And it drives me nuts that these people are out here harassing people based on their color, their gender, their sexual orientation, or their sexual gender identity. And it's like, what is it to you? Why hold on to this hate so much? It is aging the people that engage in it like spoiled milk. All week I seen fuckers that were either younger than me or a few years older than me looking like freaking road rash and talking about white power. Okay? I'm just not down with any of that shit. You want to hate somebody, let them give you a fucking reason. But if you're going to hate on the superficial level, you just look stupid at this point. We need to move past this shit. And right, Beans, entitlement, self-importance, and some of these people, yeah, they think that the world is supposed to cater to them and we're all supposed to bow and scrape. And I'm sorry, you did that to my ancestors. I might be the child of my ancestors, but I am fucking violent, and I do not care. You will not bring that shit my way and not get fought back. I am not the child that had to put up with that shit anymore, and I was forged by your dumb shit. I know how to navigate your shit, and I'll give a brief example, because I don't want to throw the hospital directly under the bus, but last week I had to go in for my levels, as you know, and I had somebody who seemed like a nice person, but he kept bringing up drugs, kept bringing up testing my pee and blood, and don't worry, we don't tell the cops. They made some other references, and I could tell they were just trying to break the ice, but didn't know how to talk to me like a human being. So I finally said to them, I'm a comic book writer and a nerd. I used to give my mom urine so that she could pass her test. Can't do nothing about it. It was over 20 years ago, so it is what it is. I don't have any of those issues. I didn't even ask for pain medication. All I wanted to do is figure out why my side was hurt, and it was found that I had the cyst. I don't understand the levels of casual bigotry that people think they could just say to me, thinking that it's cool. But even back in my corporate days, I had to smile at stupid jokes. Because if I didn't show that I could take a joke at my expense often, I would lose my job. And until you know what it's like having to navigate that level fuckery, I mean, there's not much people can say or do to me anymore. I've become numb to hatred because that is your burden to bear. And those of you who think, well, I'll just say this because the only thing I know about black people is what I've seen on TV. Get to know us before you assume. Talk to us like human beings. Treat us with the dignity and respect that we deserve. Because I'm always polite and respectful until you get that nasty side out of me. And then all bets are off. The gloves come right the fuck off. Because you have awakened the inner wrath beast in me. And it takes a lot at this point now because I'm in protect my peace mode. I do not need this level of fuckery constantly. I don't need you to remind me that I'm different from you. I'm literally living in a town where I did see a lot more people that look like me, but we're few and far between in this rural town. It's fine, because I really don't deal with people on that level. All my friends right now I communicate with through text messages or online. So I am okay with not making new friends out here, but what I'm not okay with is when I am in need of actual assistance, dealing with assumptions about my habits. My habits are comic books, manga, anime, and writing. My habits are watching old TV shows and kicking it up with my friends. Whether we're playing video games together, whether we're talking on here. I do not have a drug habit. And it's not to shame those of you who are struggling, because I know this world can be a bit much. I know this world can be a bit overwhelming at times. And sometimes you really feel like you need a escape. And agree, beans, we're not a monolith. But you'd be surprised how many people will come out their face because they think they're being down, they think they're relating to us. And you want to put them in their place sometimes. But I just gently reminded him that, that wasn't my deal. But it's these little microaggressions that people don't even think are microaggressions. They don't hear themselves when they talk to us. You can see it in the way some medical things are handled. You can see it in the way people look at you as if you don't belong or just do a double take. And even some people that overdo the kindness. Because they think, well, if I look kind, they won't think I'm racist. If you're not racist, you're not racist. Everybody has a little bit of bigotry in them. Everybody our age and older especially have to unlearn a lot of the bigotry that we had. It is nothing new. You don't have to go proving to every black person you're not racist if you're not racist. There are ways to be a better ally. And I will get to the spoutable thing next because I wanted to showcase what Bowery Doll was talking about. But I definitely want to talk about somebody who I feel shows what an ally truly can be like. Now, I know the schools, especially in the South right now, and all over the place, are dealing with parents, dealing with students, dealing with assholes who want to go to school board meetings, talking about the woke agenda. And anything black is woke. TV shows showing the black character woke. Video games showcasing different skin tones woke. Having different preferences. Too woke, too woke. And anybody who's anti-woke at this point, you might as well just have a big old red B on your forehead for bigot. Maybe a red R if you're really the hardline bigot. I think you need to understand that being anti-woke ain't the flex you think it is. It makes you look dumb. It makes you look disconnected from other human beings who just want to move forward. There is no viable reason in this day and age to be anti-woke, to be against diversity in a world where we all come in different cultures, but we could come together as a people. But some of you just want to keep poking that hornet's nest. But we have a teacher, Mary Wood, talk Between the World and Me for a second time to shock her peers. And why did she shock her peers? Because she was punished for teaching a Ta-Nehisi Coates lesson, trying to teach students not only about the black experience, but try to open some eyes of people who may not have gotten that kind of lesson, because not a lot of white teachers would teach Ta-Nehisi Coates. And it's sad because between him, James Baldwin, so many other black revolutionaries and literary figures, people who just wanted to show that we're here, we want to be a part of society, but we are not going to let you keep stepping on our necks. And instead of learning, growing, developing empathy, realizing that hate, that ancestral hate that y'all hold on to sometimes needs to be let go. Of course, again, in South Carolina, they showed us they are not willing to let go of their Confederate roots. An AP English teacher, and I can tell you, as somebody who took AP classes, they are the teachers that really go hard for deep literature. I will never forget Mr. Scheifetz. He gave me a hug at graduation. He was one of my favorite AP literature teachers. He was the one that let me read Beowulf. I did an actual panorama for his class. Canterbury Tales. We did a lot of Old English stuff, but he also allowed us to read Langston Hughes. We did a lot of well-rounded literature. But that was in New York. In the South, you have to worry about your job if you teach this kind of stuff. And it don't make sense. But English teacher Mary Wood was once punished for having the class read Ta-Nehisi Coates' acclaimed book Between the World and Me. Last year, 2 students in Wood's class, going to guess what ethnicity they were? I guarantee you'll win. Class at Chapin High School in South Carolina complained to the school about her lesson. They stated that Between the World and Me made them feel ashamed to be white. And I hate that argument so much. That has been a white supremacist talking point far too long. The goal isn't to make people hate being white, period. And I know my black ass saying they ain't going to change minds of those ingrown into their hate circle. But if you're a white person watching this right now and you're like, hey, are these works supposed to make me hate being white? No. They're supposed to let you understand what dehumanization is like, what prejudice is like, and how to let go so that you don't cause harm and trauma to future generations. So that you don't raise people who will cause harm and trauma to future generations. We have a trial going on here in Michigan of the Crumley parents. Ethan Crumley last year almost 2 years ago actually, during Christmas, murdered 6 students. He wasn't as bad as the kid up in Buffalo, but there are pockets of these young, vulnerable white males who don't know where to turn, who are going through mental health crisis, who go to the internet, get filled with even more hate and rage, whether it's misogyny, whether it's bigotry, whether it's racism, whether it's anti-LGBT rhetoric. And what drives me nuts is that we are all connected on the internet, yet we don't still push back against these pockets of hate groups that just connect easier. And the loss of life is always tragic because it could have been stopped. We need people to understand that it ain't about shaming your ethnicity. And as somebody who's had my ethnicity shamed, I don't want anybody to feel what that feels like. I ain't out here telling you, oh, you should feel ashamed to be a white person. No, I'm asking you that if you're a white person, dislike the hate, dislike the dehumanization, move forward with us, because we are not going to see a better future if we keep getting chained back by these damn stupid, hateful roots. There's no reason for it in this day and age. And exactly, sweetie, I don't understand why finding out how other people are treated, finding out how dehumanization works, how prejudice works, is supposed to make you feel bad. It is an ignorant argument. Furthermore, it indicated that Wood was in violation of a state proviso that bans teachers from causing students guilt, anguish, or psychological distress due to their race. And I'm going to stop that right there, because that was not meant for you little fucking snowflakes, and you love to call us snowflakes. It was meant for students who are literally treated like less than. Told things like, well, you better hope you can play ball or sing because you're not going to do much. We'll see you in the county jail or flipping fries at the McDonald's. You have a lot of fucking nerve using something that was put up for kids who literally had to deal with racism, whether they're indigenous, brown, black, Latinx, or any other in our country. The fucking nerve. And they always co-opt stuff that's meant to make schools and places of business and other public places more open and accessible to everybody to just exploit. And it's infuriating that this is their argument. Oh, we feel ashamed because we don't want to hear about people's plight. And it's crazy. Oh, good Lord. I don't even want to deal with Texas today, so I'm going to skip that one for my blood pressure. The new school principal, a black man, gave Wood permission to teach the book once more. She revised the curriculum so it wouldn't violate the state proviso, which is being exploited. Y'all all understand that. Parents reviewed the lesson, gave them a chance to have their child opt out, and included a conservative perspective contradicting Mr. Coates' work. Of course. And I'm not against opposing views, y'all. I was in debate club and everything. I get that people want to argue their side. But the problem with having that conservative perspective instead of alongside, is that these people are literally indoctrinating young minds towards hate. And we just let them do that. We just give carte blanche to teach them that, oh, we don't want you to have empathy. We want you to see them as less than. We want you to use the slurs, and we want you to hate with all your heart. We don't care if that drags you down, destroys your soul, pulls you into an abyss. We need good little foot soldiers for fuckery. And this is how you get them. I wouldn't have minded if the class had both views put side by side so that people could see one side and the other side. The fear they have of that is that when you see both sides up against each other, whether people like to hear it or not, the conservative views don't fucking hold weight. They know it. That's why they pull their kids out. That's why they indoctrinate them as hard as they can. Because when you use logic and critical thinking on why bigotry in any way, shape, or form, especially racism, is illogical in this day and age, they can't really argue without sidelining, huddling up, and saying F you, N-word. That's all they got now. Their hate is fucking dumb. They know it's fucking dumb. Their younger generation, the ones who aren't being indoctrinated, know it's fucking dumb. We just want to move forward, and this shit is holding us back. And I can't just blame South Carolina, because for every pocket of this fuckery, there are pockets of people just living together, being sweet to each other, understanding that we all got to be neighbors and take care of one another. But there will always be those dregs of society, those low rock living motherfuckers who want to keep holding on to those glory days, those General Lee days, not to knock the Dukes of Hazzard because I grew up on them. But it is annoying to me the way some people hold on to bullshit like this. It teaches kids different perspectives. It teaches kids how to write well. Wood said in the interview explaining her decision. It's the right thing to do. However, there's still been palatable opposition to Wood's decision. Of course there was. And you know what really drives me nuts about the opposition to what she did is the fact that these people are afraid of losing ground. They want control of our country. They want control of our societal rules. They want control, period. They don't even care if they really have a leg up, because a lot of their foot soldiers for fuckery are poor ass fuckers who don't really know how the wealthier ones of them exploit their willingness to stay ignorant. They will let you live in squalor as long as you yell that you are better than black people. And I don't understand how you can look at that and be okay with it. Because maybe you think one day you'll be like them? I don't think so. Now, if you keep dumbing down your education to stick it to us, you're not hurting us. I come from the demographic, including myself, that are the most educated. I went to college and finished it, unlike some people that are fan favorites on this site. And I don't say that to brag. It took a lot of hard work, and I had to do it after I had a baby. Because I wanted to be able to take care of my son properly. I wanted him to see, as he's about to graduate, what higher education could open up doors. And granted, I don't use my degree. I wanted to write. I finally got over that fear in the back of my head that I couldn't do it. But I want people to understand that just because you don't use your degree doesn't mean you shouldn't go. And there are a lot more parents fighting the woke colleges because they'll send their little indoctrinee to a college and they come back questioning. They come back pushing back against the ancestral fuckery. They come back understanding empathy. And a lot of people don't want that. And it's shameful that this is the way they choose to behave in this day and age. We're going to move over to Spoutable, my new favorite and only social media app. I know my Twitter has been collecting digital dust. And it is what it is. I keep it on lockdown. Because I don't really need more than the people who were following me before. And if Apartheid Edgelord sells, maybe one day I might come back, but I don't think so. Twitter was a battleground for me. Twitter was constant fighting with bigots. where I got death threats from my views, where I had people sliding into my DMs thinking that they were going to talk to me, even though I made it clear that I was taken. Twitter is a mess, and I don't feel like trying to clean up that mess. Jack got his $44 billion bag, sold it to the Tesla dummy, so let him continue to run it any the fuck way he wants. I ain't got to use it, but I'm not going to let anybody get my name either and use it in the wrong way. So it will collect digital dust. But we're going to move on to Bowery Doll, one of my favorite people. I followed her on Twitter. I follow her now on Spoutable. She is a dear, sweet friend, and I love when she brings to light stuff that affects us. And she goes, I knew it was spreading. The pro-cop city movement is gaining more and more momentum. These projects are all about racist, militarized policing in black and indigenous and brown communities. They don't see us as equal citizens. They see us as enemy combatants and literal animals. Their fight continues now in Tennessee because in Georgia, our protests, and I say ours because I used to live down there too for a brief spell, people protested the Cop City, and now they've delayed building it. And if you don't know what Cop City is, because I am between a rock and a hard place as somebody who has law enforcement family and who understands that the thin blue line isn't what it needs to be, because they literally train like that Scorpion Squad that are up for severe murder charges, whether they're all black men or not, to view people with black skin as animals less than, and to use extreme force and violence. And now they want these militarized cop cities where cops, I believe, can move in, train heavily in militarized settings. And they showed it on Last Week Tonight. You should go and watch that if you haven't. John Oliver did a great expose on how they indoctrinate police officers into viewing people as potential predators and perpetrators and animals just because of our skin color. And they keep rallying to build these complexes state by state. And that is why so many of us have had to come out and speak out against this. Because nobody who is a citizen of this country, or even trying to be a citizen of this country, should have to deal with the terror tactics of a police force that's supposed to protect and serve us too. Well, let's see what else Bowery Doll had to say about this, because this was a two-parter. Okay, this was just Save Tennessee and the Marilyn Monroe KKK thing is wow. But I really do like Bowery Doll. She brings a lot of necessary news that you might not get in regular news. You might not get on social media sites besides Spoutable. And it's sad to me that people don't understand that they're not being trained to view us as anything but disposable. And if you think that your income level protects you, unless you're in a very high income bracket, rural citizens, they're militarized against you too. I watched a TikTok compilation once where this young lady from Appalachia said it quite plainly, that I never understood why so many people hate black people in my community when we're all treated the same. They look at us as poor. They look at us as throwaways. They think we're useless. They treat us with force and violence. Why aren't we coming together with our brothers and sisters? And a lot of people stitched in saying, yeah, we have a lot of similar experiences. Denial of proper housing. Denial of proper services like internet, running water, electricity for years. Poorer and rural, especially, and even urban white folks, because I know yous are out there. I know there were white kids that lived in the projects all their fucking lives. Even here in Michigan, the trailer park kids that people like to make fun of. If you had that background and you hold hate in your heart, who the fuck are you carrying water for at this point? You're not carrying water for a billionaire wannabe politician that don't give a fuck about you. And before you turn it around and say, well, you're in the same boat, Tim. Am I? Because President Biden has done good for a lot of us. And I know you wanted to blame him. I read that shitty article last week about how black people and black men, because they knew they couldn't say black women, in Michigan feel unheard what is President Biden doing? We have a governor who has given so many programs for people who take care of their families, people who take care of the elderly, black, brown, indigenous, and white families, LGBTQ plus. Everybody in Michigan has an ability now to get help if they need, get their voices heard. But these hit pieces to make this election another horse race has been dangerous. So I'm telling you, this Black History Month, if you're a black man right now and you feel unheard, speak your piece. But don't get mad when we counter you with the fact that you're just talking in circles. You're being a crab in the fucking barrel instead of working with all of us. I don't care if you don't like that better America for all of us means a person that don't like us for our skin tone benefits. That is the job of pragmatism. We can fight the battle of undoing hate in snippets, because that's the only way we're going to be able to do this. If you're going to sit there putting your hands on your chest saying, I'm not listened to, so I might not vote, who the fuck do you think you're hurting besides all of us? Need I remind you that from 2016 to 2021, we were living in literal fucking terror along with a pandemic that was fucking preventable, but the doofus fired the crew that was able to keep Zika and other diseases at bay. We are having outbreaks that shouldn't have happened. But on top of that, need I remind you that he rounded up an innocent Muslim grandmother along with several other Muslims in this country because he didn't want them to feel like they belonged. And I noticed that there were a few Michigan politicians, a mayor, a few councilmen and shit, that wanted to pull that shit where they wouldn't meet with the president because of what's going on overseas. And I get that it's a sensitive topic. I've seen the horrors that are going on in Gaza right now, and my heart goes out to those families. Seeing babies born shell-shocked because they are being rained down on. There is no right answer to this for somebody who doesn't have a dime in that quarter. But for you to tell your citizens who just less than 5 years ago were at threat of being rounded up by a man who has no qualms about calling you the enemy, for a man who has tried his damnedest to show compassion, tried his damnedest to hear what you want to say, and you keep rebuking him for what? Clout? To look like you're doing better? I don't understand how we are going to get past this and actually get a ceasefire if you won't even come to the fucking table. Everybody wants to hold their breath, stamp their feet, and cross their arms like a toddler instead of being adults in the fucking room. You just want to sway people against the common choice, the common sense choice this year. And yous are going to march us right into fucking fascism. And I'm telling you, as somebody who this month is relevant for because my people were in chains, I do not want to see any other group go through this. We have already had our Asian Americans targeted for years. Muslim Americans have been targeted for years by hate and prejudice. And I understand those of you with ties overseas feel in a certain way. But you cannot get what you want by not coming to the table and at least bringing what you want to say forward. But acting like you're not going to get heard at all, that shit happened about 2 years ago. Not even. Yeah, about 2 years ago. When VP Harris and President Biden first took office, they opened up the White House to several groups that seemed like they'd be willing to talk, and they weren't. They just wanted to stunt for power. You're going to stunt us into a bad place. You've got to let go of these chips on your shoulder. You've got to be willing to negotiate and talk. And you have got to understand that the other side is gearing up for those people to erode just a little bit more of the margin. Just enough to slide that snake back in the office. And then once he grips it, he already praised Xi Jinping for being a president for life. I know he doesn't have much dust left in him, just pancake makeup and bad haircuts, but he could enact all kinds of things to keep rational, sane, and diverse people out of any kind of representation forever. I'm not saying that to just fearmonger. I'm saying that because we have seen the damage of 4 years of him. And he is already warned, despite being indicted, they've been trying to hit Fannie Willis pretty hard too to knock her out. Despite having to pay Jeannie Carroll over $83 million, he is determined to get that power back. And it is on us. We are the front lines against this. We who know what our everything, all of our identities being targeted feels like. It is on those of you who want to loudly claim you are our allies, especially during Black History Month, quoting Martin Luther King at us when we tell you, okay, now go read some James Baldwin. Okay, now watch some of Malcolm X and read some of his stuff. Read some Langston Hughes. Get a deeper connection. Stop asking Black people to give you lists of stuff. There are even newer authors, like my friend Letitia, who made the White Allies Handbook. There are ways of you to look this shit up. Stop asking us to be your Black whisperer and just do the looking yourself. Do the reading. They even have them in audiobooks now. Get a sense of what it feels like. And then realize that you don't have to be a part of the problem anymore. I just want more people to understand that during this month, it isn't just to shame or make people feel shame for their cultural identity. It is to shame the brutal, historically documented acts of hate. It is to make you realize that that is a burden you don't have to hold on to anymore. You need to understand that you're only hurting yourself at this point. You might traumatize people like me for just a little bit, but we have gone through this for so much that some of us, we just disassociate now. We just know that that is on you. That is not our burden to carry. You gotta let that hate splinter or hate stump, for some of you really hardline ones, out of your heart. It is a poison. So many of us realized early on, especially us Gen Xers, because we were in a world where our schools integrated. We were in a world where sometimes we were only one of many in classrooms, but we still got the opportunity. We were ones that learned that treating people as if they were other because of who they are wasn't right. And I'm not saying it's perfect, because some of my friends, former high school friends, went full MAGA. I can't even understand it, because I can pull out my yearbook and other photos of all of us together smiling, and now I know that they are on the side of hate. And I just don't understand the allure. I don't understand the appeal. I want more months where, instead of going backwards and constantly reminding people that dehumanization isn't it, that we get to a point where everybody feels connected. We don't all have to like each other. We're not all always going to agree. We are not a collective mind or hive mind. But live and let live. Is that so fucking hard? You don't have to like people that look like me. You don't even have to know me. Some of you have never even met a Black person in your life, but the moment you see one, you get the fucking vapors. Just live your life and let that hate go. And I'm going to wrap this up just a little bit early tonight, y'all. I really wanted to try to end it on more of a high note, but maybe I'll come back on Tell It Tuesday with some more positive achievements, some actual history that shows beneficial stuff. Tonight was a little bit harder because when you see how much things keep moving forward, but how many people want to chain us backwards, it is a bit disheartening, but there are so many good things on the horizon. Spoutable's birthday is coming up. I'm hoping to start my own pod on there soon. I was invited, but as you know, I was kind of incapacitated for a while, but I am really looking forward to that. Once I get the all clear next week from the specialist, I will consider getting the schedule up for that once a week YouTube stream. Because apparently the young chippies think they're going to play with me, think I'm trying to make my name off others. I make my name off me, dum-dums. I need you to understand that. I might like certain bigger creators because they're funny, because they're entertaining. I might super chat them, but they don't owe me a damn thing, and I don't advertise on their streams. That's deflection that you like to do. Just because a person wants to talk to people and get to watching them and enjoy their channels doesn't mean I need them to be my cheerleaders. And I don't need anybody to fight my battles. I need you to understand that I am a different breed. I was forged by prejudice offline and online. I did over 10 years on Twitter's fuck shit with worse fuck shits than you. If you think you're going to take me down, you better hit hard. And I don't think you can. Because I've seen all your little stunts, all your little antics, calling CPS on people, trying to get people's jobs. You want to try to review bomb people. You can do your worst. I will still be my best. Because you can't steal my shine with your shitty antics. And welcome to the chat. Buffet, we love you too. I will definitely stay safe. I am going to go get ready to rest. We are going to get ready to wrap this up. I will see y'all next week. Hopefully with some good news. I got 2 appointments on Tuesday, but I should be back home to do the 4 o'clock stream, hopefully. And I will let you know ahead of time if not. But I got to get rid of this cough. I need to get some tea in me and just relax. Thank you all so much for watching. Honey, did you want to hit up Jem or?
Nope, it was a serious topic tonight. No, Jem.
Okay. We will bring Jem back maybe next week. Thank you all so much for watching, and you take care, and happy Black History Month for real, y'all.